Hello, everyone. My name is Christian Desada, and today I will be talking about voter ID laws. So imagine waiting in line on election day, getting to the front, and then hearing, "I'm sorry, your ID doesn't count." At that point, it wouldn't matter what political party you belong to. What would matter is that you showed up ready to vote and the system failed you. That is why voter ID laws are such a debated issue in the United States. Some people believe stricter voter ID laws are necessary because they help protect elections and make sure only eligible citizens vote. Other people believe these laws can create barriers for eligible voters. Elections should be secure, but voting should be also fair and accessible. The United States currently needs a balanced nationwide voter ID law. That current system is inconsistent and does not do enough to protect election security and voter access at the same time. Right now, the voter ID laws vary depending on the state. Some states require photo ID, while others accept different forms of ID. That creates confusion, though, because something as important as voting should not feel completely different depending on where a person lives. It also causes more division because supporters focus on election security while critics focus on voter access. So the real issue is not just whether ID should be required, the real issue is whether the law can protect security without unfairly making voting harder. My proposed policy is nationwide voter ID law that creates one clear standard. Under my policy, voters would need to show an approved photo ID. Accepted IDs would include a driver's license, a state ID, a U.S. passport, military ID, tribal ID, or a free government issued ID, or even a voter ID. I believe it should be a photo ID because if the goal is to verify your identity, then the poll workers need to be able to match the voter to the document. At the same time, I do not think it's fair that we require identification without making it easy to get. That is why my policy includes a free voter ID. Any US citizen who is 18 years or older does not already have one of the accepted IDs could apply for one at no cost. My policy would also provide free identification to lawful residents who are not US citizens, including permanent residents and people with student or work visas. However, only US citizens who are 18 or older and provide proof of citizenship and residency would receive a voter ID that can be used in elections. This way, the policy still helps people get identification while keeping voting limited to those who are legally eligible. To receive a free voter ID, a person would need to show proof of citizenship or proof of residency. Proof of citizenship could include a birth certificate, a passport, or naturalization paperwork. Proof of residency could include something as easy as a utility bill, a house lease, bank statement, or official government mail. This is important because the policy needs to be specific. It would be clearly explain who qualifies and what is required. My policy would also include a backup option for voters who show up without the right ID. Instead of being turned away immediately, they would be allowed to cast a provisional ballot. The ballot would only be counted after their identity and eligibility were verified. I think this matters because the real life is not perfect. People forget documents, lose their wallet, can lose their purse, and an eligible voter should not automatically be disqualified because you lost your wallet or you lost your purse. I would also make these IDs accessible through DMV offices, county election offices, and mobile sites. I believe this policy is the best solution for three reasons. First, it strengthens election security. It creates one clear national standard instead of a patchwork of different rules. It also requires proof of citizenship for the free voter ID used in elections, which helps make sure only eligible citizens are voting. Second, it protects voter access because the IDs is free. It's at cost at no barrier. Because the several forms of ID are acceptable, voters have more than one way to prove who they are, and because the provisional ballots are allowed, eligible voters are not automatically shut out over one mistake on election day. Third, this policy is balanced and it takes election security seriously, but it also takes fairness seriously. Too often people act like we have to choose between secure elections and fair access to voting. I do not think we should have to choose. A strong policy should protect both and process the voters' vote. In conclusion, the United States should adopt a balanced nationwide voter ID law because it would provide one clear standard. It would require proof of identity and citizenship for voting. It would also still protect eligible voters through the free IDs and provisional ballots. It would also provide free identification to lawful residents who are not just citizens without changing who is legally allowed to vote. In a strong democracy, people should not have to choose between secure elections and fair access to ballots. We should expect both. And thank you for listening to me today, and that is my policy.